So let's do a goddamn intro again because it's already. This is what happened. Okay, when you first start doing the goddamn podcast and stuff, then this is what happened. If the recording fail, if I 1 hour after into the recording and it fail, I'm gonna be like actually pissed. Okay, so here we go.
Yep.
So, hello everyone, welcome to Furry versus Normi. Okay, that's what we're planning on calling the podcast, but we'll see. It could change. But yeah, so. I am Winter Atlas, and you can introduce yourself, okay? Yeah, you can do it yourself.
Greetings and salutations, Internet. I am Star Knight. I am the most normal person you will ever see, courtesy of this fella. He would know. Possibly.
Yeah? You're not normal whatsoever, I'll be honest. The name is completely incorrect, but you know what? Base. Alright, so.
Version of expectations always goes a long way.
Okay. Do you have a noise suppression on or something?
I do. I asked you if it was okay, and you said, it's pretty good.
Don't put it on. Turn it off.
Turn it off? Okay. There we go. It is off. I am now
that's so much
speaking
better.
with my raw
There you go.
voice. We're raw dogging.
We are raw dogging. Fuck it. I'm not cutting that part out. I don't care anymore, okay? I was already did a recording of this shit, and I'm not fucking cutting the dog shit out because of you messed up. Okay. But so yeah, hello everybody, welcome. Okay, so you like that image?
You have a picture here. Yeah,
Indeed.
you've got two fairly normal-looking furries with this gruff-looking fella and a pirate. I mean, that gruff-looking fella looks like he's seeking revenge against the pirate because the pirate murdered his family and he's about to get his revenge.
How do you come up with this, the dumbest type of stories for this? Okay, it's just a furry image. Okay, I didn't steal that, promise.
Okay, so you drew it yourself.
No, okay, never mind. I don't actually want to take credit for this shit. Yeah, I should get in trouble if I do that. That was such an asshole doing. No, I just found it online. Okay, but you can tell it's a bunch of furries. So our first topic, because I'm quite intrigued as a norm. No, nothing happened. Okay,
are we gonna talk about your clumsiness?
No, shut the fuck up. Okay, as a furry, as a non-furry. Okay, I'm a furry. Okay, you're a non-furry. Okay, that's why we call this Furry versus Normie. Okay, that's the name of the podcast for a reason. How do you feel about the furry community? Oh my god, the almighty question.
Well, see, that is a rather complex question.
Yeah.
I mean, the furry community, what my interactions have been thus far, have been rather interesting. A rather a large variety of colorful characters, who's on average very entertaining overall. There's only been a few sour individuals from here.
Is it like your best
most
friend
part,
also like a furry? Come on. Is Gray your best friend?
No. I don't know if I would say. I mean,
yeah.
Man,
Yeah. You want to shit on Gray right now?
I don't know if I could call a best friend. No, I would never have a best friend furry. No, sir. Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting because, like, I don't know. You seem to interact with lots of furry really out of nowhere. Especially in VR chat and all of that. You join like furries.
I've never. This is true. It was through him that I actually had any sort of notable interaction with the furry community, and his group, as we've called it, and the kind of everyone else is kind of around him, and all being furries is I've never really interacted with them in that way, and that was been very interesting to kind of see the social dynamics and the differences that the kind of furry community has in general for, let's say, the gamer community, which is maybe something that maybe I'm a little bit more a part of.
I'm curious. I think this is like the main question I have for you. Okay. Why aren't you a furry? Okay. Why do you not? Why are you not a furry? How about that? Why are you not a furry? Go ahead. Yeah, elaborate.
Well, I don't necessarily identify myself with any particular community in that way. I don't really do communities mostly. I mean, I could say I'm a weeb and I can say that I'm a gamer, but I don't necessarily say that I'm part of the weeb or gamer community either. In the same way I'm as part of the furry community.
You know what? Fair enough. Do you have anything against furry? Is that the reason, huh? Star?
No, not at all. I just don't do community. I don't. I like talking to individuals and people who might be a part of it, but
Yeah.
a community as a whole does not really hold a lot of interest to me. I find that I don't know, the collective consciousness of any particular community is not something I interact with. I like to interact with people who happen to be part of communities, which is fine, but as a community itself, not so much.
That's fair. Okay, as a furry myself, do you have any question for me? Huh?
Yeah. Boy. I mean,
Star?
like, what got you into the furry community?
I don't even know. I just think I really enjoyed the thing is, I was a furry before I joined the community. I think I just liked the artwork and stuff like that, but I never interacted with the community until like later on in life, around 18ish, maybe 19 is when I finally decided.
That's quite late, actually.
Yeah, to actually interact with the community. My first experience with like the actual community is I actually joined a furry server on Discord, and then eventually I hang out there. Long story short, though, there's a lot of drama that happened, and being the second biggest Canadian furry server, kind of got nuked, and it's no longer exists anymore. So there's quite a bit of drama that's involved. I'm not gonna say.
Now that's an interesting. See, this is what I find interesting. Is like how these things occur. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think also a fair point. Maybe another in the future. Okay. Well, so like that is something I have noticed with the furry community is that there seems to be a lot more drama overall than in other communities. It seems. I think it's because there's like a lot of like community there seems like to be more of a gateway. It seems it's guarded, and while the furry community, as long as you say you're a furry, that's it, you're a furry. There's not really anything keeping you out of the community, and it has some ups and downs that comes with it, right? Like But what is the difference between that and other communities? I mean, like, if you're a part of the weeb community, you're a weeb, right? You like animes. If you're part of the gamer, you like games. The
thing about it is that
community more.
I guess so, but if you say you're a weeb and you say you never watch any anime, people would definitely not call you a weeb. If you're like a gamer and you don't play, if you're not a gamer and then you say you're in a gaming community, people's not gonna think you are part of like quote unquote the game.
But if you're a furry and you don't have a persona or have some sort of furry avatar, I would say the same thing.
No, people would just like, oh, okay, that's fair, and they'll still accept you like that. It's kind of in an odd way. Like it's more accepting than like some other community. It doesn't matter if you have a persona or anything like that. It's really weird with how people how I'm not saying the majority of people in the community actually think that way, but it do occur like that. It's really weird.
Well, I'm very curious. So what's the deviation here between a furry and non-furry, or furry and non-furry, in terms of like what do they like? What makes you a furry versus not, other than just
it's just the interest in the anthropomorphic. How do you say that word? I don't know. You know what I mean?
It's good.
It's good. Okay, I said
anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic. Which is like animal
personification of animals.
It's human characteristic with animal design. I don't know. I guess design or whatever. Because like I think it's the merge of the two, of the human aspect and the animal aspect of it, that made people really enjoy the design of it. I guess I don't know how to describe it. It's what draw people in.
So, for instance, in that case, you can be a furry if you have a persona, but you can also be a furry if you, let's say, like Disney animations and whatnot that include a lot of animal characters. Like, I guess Zootopia is the classic one for that.
I think majority of people that became a furry started because of like Disney movies and stuff like that. Because a lot of Disney movies do have like animal roles, animal as like main character or even like side characters and stuff. It's more attracting to kid, right? Like kids like when there's talking animals and stuff like that, and that's where how I think most furry are born. Disney is the biggest furry of them all. Okay.
Well, I mean, don't forget DreamWorks and Pixar. I mean, they certainly have their share of animal movies as well.
Yeah. Wait. Is Turning Red, which is a movie? I don't know if
Turning.
that one...
Oh, that's the one with the panda, right?
Yeah, it's the one that like the girl turned. I haven't seen the movie actually. It's the one that the girl literally turned into a furry, which is funny. And I don't know.
I think that's. I don't know. I think it's DreamWorks. I don't think it's Disney. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I was thinking if
it's
I was going to ask if it's Disney or not. But yeah, that makes sense. Like all of the animation shows that's depicting animal is usually the cause of people like discovering that they're furry and so on and so forth. So, yeah. But I'm guessing you're not because you don't have any interest in that, right?
Well, it's. How about this? I mean, I think that the personification of animals and have that, like, how they humans, not human kind of thing. I mean, I don't see anything. What's the word? I think it's interesting. I mean, like Neko example for in the more of the anime community is quite prevalent, and I think that's rather adorable. But that's
Neko
also
is just like human
with
like animal ears and tails.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah, in some sense, yeah.
Like
it's funny that your avatar is like that, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's exactly the point. It's it's just more of a Neko character. It's not really an animal. It's kind of a human with animal parts.
It's I'm just kind of intrigued by the perspective of non-furry into the fandom, really. Especially with the majority of your friends. I want to say majority because I don't know if the majority of your friends actually are furry.
I would say no. I would say the majority is not furry.
Okay, that's good.
Actually, it might be more like around
50-50.
I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to think. Maybe like 40% if I had to give a number to it. Maybe?
That's pretty big. Okay, for a non-furry, that's. I'm just saying that's like I'm like 90%. That's my ranking. Okay, 90% furry.
90%. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's an interesting topic. You want to move on to the next one? Because the next one is kind of spicy.
I mean,
it's up to you. If you want to talk about your topic or you want to talk about my topic.
I mean, the funny thing is, when it comes to the furry community, right? This is an infinite rabbit hole that we could keep going down and define more and more. Like, we can continue on with this, or we can continue on another topic. It's entirely up to you. It is your podcast.
There's like deeper lore in terms of like. There's different species like protogens we can talk about, and then we can talk about like Therians.
Well,
like
I was more interested in like how you interact with the community and how that kind of got started.
Okay. You want to know how
you mentioned that you got into it. Yeah. Well, the thing is, you said you were a furry before you were officially a furry. Like you're kind of like a furry adjacent, I guess, would be the best way to describe it. And then you became a furry when you joined the community and whatnot, and thought that was pretty chill. Like, what made you vibe with the furry community over, let's say, any other community that you may have joined?
I think it's the commonality that we have between us, between like me and the furry community. I think that's what brings me a lot of interest in the community. Another thing is, I guess, like because of my sexuality as well, right? A majority of the furry community is basically on the LGBT group, which is interesting, intriguing.
Yeah.
I don't know why necessarily. Maybe honestly, I don't even have a guess as to why that's the case.
That is kind of the meme, though. That is very much like the meme of the furry community.
It's not even like LGBT. That's really specific. It's like majority of furries are gay, not even bi. Well, some are bi, but or lesbian is like really low on the list. And then there's like gay. Gay people are like super prevalent in the furry community. And as somebody that is gay, I feel a sense of belonging. Okay, shut the fuck up. You're straight, right? Am I right?
Very, yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
And unfortunately, so I wish I was bi, to be fair, but
I wish I was bi too. Okay, I want extra options.
Exactly. It would make
Yeah.
things so much easier, but no.
True.
No.
Both gender. Okay. That's a plus. That's a buff.
No, I think in terms of that, you probably like being gay. You have actually it's better than being bi or straight. Well, actually, no, bi is still better, but like between gay or straight, gay is a bit better, I'd say, because it's easier to kind of get in relationships and stuff like that than probably being straight.
I think that's actually a statistic that gay relationship are the most successful, and then straight, and then lesbian. Lesbian is the least successful relationship, at least statistically.
I'm not really sure.
That's what I remember. I don't know 100%. I might actually, like, in the edit when I'm editing, I might post that statistic up. But yeah, if I can find it.
Pull it
if I
up!
can't, okay, I'm just like spewing bullshit.
We don't have a dedicated person for
Where's
that.
your
Okay.
sauce?
Right.
Where's your sauce?
We need to get an intern, okay? We need to get an intern to do this.
Yeah, I don't get paid enough for this shit, okay? I don't get paid anything for this shit, okay?
I mean, you don't. That's the thing. An intern is free. That's like the big corporo does it. I mean, I'm perfectly.
Intern is free.
Sure.
Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm not a big corporal. Okay, I'm just an individual. Okay, I'm doing this podcast because I want to hang out with you. That's like the reality of it.
Because you couldn't do it otherwise, right? Yeah.
By myself. What fun with a podcast by myself? We might as well just do like single content. Or
No,
something.
talking to me without the cameras, okay? Yeah, that's perfectly feasible.
I know, but I also want to do the podcast anyway. So why not just kill two birds with one stone?
This is true.
And I can always talk to you later as well. I don't really. It's not only about the goddamn.
Well, isn't
podcast.
isn't that bad because you're a furry? Killing birds would be like, committing like a crime.
Nah, I hate aliens.
Wouldn't that be murder?
Nah, we're species, okay? There's scalies, there's furries, and then there's like birds, and then there's like amphibian, and then like fish. Like all the different types of families or categories, not families, because families is a different thing.
What about aliens?
I don't fucking know what aliens is.
You're a furry. You should know everything about furrydom, right? Right? Exactly.
I don't know what do you mean? The aliens are not a furry. What type of furry?
No, but that is something I know is untrue. If I went to a random person and who knows about furries and say, are bird avies and bird like related like personified birds furry, they would say it's furry. Okay,
it is
definitely
furry. No. The term furry just refers to it even though like birds and like scalies are doesn't have fur, they're still part of the furry community. Yeah. In the sense that the term furry in the furry community, it just means like anthropomorphic. That's the real definition of it. There's like subcategory, which is like furry in the sense that they're like mammal, like dogs, cats, sonas, and so on and so forth. And then there's scalies, which is dragons, lizards, so on and so forth.
Well,
avian, which is birds.
Let's see what's.
And then there's
Well, what about like non-humanized furries, like or furry things? Like, because I know that is also
Therians?
a thing. Where they're
more
more
Therians. People
animal
that
than person.
They just think they're spiritually an animal. Those exist in the community. I feel like that personally. Even I still feel kind of weird out about it. I don't really understand it.
Well, no, not
much.
even that per se. I mean, I know those people, but I'm talking about the ones like that kind of have like more like or do animal avatars like what you're doing, but they're more animal than person, but not necessarily thinking themselves as an animal. If that makes sense.
I don't know what you mean by that, because like there's such a scale. I don't know. It's like a scale. So when you say more, there's like a million possibility. No, the infinite possibility, right? Because it's literally.
We could. I mean, there's also the scale on the internet that has a meme of you have like a
I know that meme.
and then you have
post that. I don't have
I was
it
saying
up
like
right
on the
now,
near the other end of that meme, right? Like on the end of that scale, right?
Which
like
is
near the last two,
usually
I think, or something.
Referred to as Therians, yeah.
Therians. I've never heard that term before, but okay, interesting.
Yeah. We can bring up Therians another time as well, because I actually, because like my knowledge in, even though I am a furry,
I
have lack of knowledge.
You could say you have some theory and theories.
Oh my god. But yeah, I have lack of knowledge in terms of like theory and stuff, which I need to still look into. So I don't have the.
So right now it's all theoretical.
Yeah, I'm not knowledgeable to actually like bring it into the conversation. Because like, if I just yap about it and not have any idea what I'm talking about, I'm just gonna get shit on. Okay, that's the
most
reality
people.
of it.
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be most people podcast, okay? I'm not gonna be Joe Rogan bringing a fucking flat earther in and it's like, yeah, I agree. The earth is flat. No, I don't think he actually said something like that, but he did bring like some insane people onto the podcast.
I mean, he brings all sorts of people in like that. He just brings anyone who's like willing to have some really weird ideas. I think that's kind of why he's successful, is because he doesn't really. He just brings in anyone that's interesting or he thinks is interesting, whether they be crazy or not.
That is true. In terms of like whichever is, I think at the end of the day, a podcast, people just truly care about if it's interesting or not, right? That's the reality of it. And
right. No, exactly. I mean, the thing is, like, I think that we could rely on the audience to be mostly sane and not necessarily believe the flat earther when he says the world's flat. And I would hope that we can have podcasts, that we can have people that's, silly or a bit, cuckoo, but not say that he's going to now radicalize your entire audience and now everyone's a flat earther. I think that's a bit silly.
Yeah, it's kind of true. What was that? I don't know. I don't drink. I'm gonna give you.
I will say that I think he's rather interesting. As his biggest talent is be able to get people to talk. Like, I think that's rather appreciated with him in terms of like he's able to. Yeah, he's really able to kind of get people to kind of come out of. Yeah, exactly. He's able to get people out of their shell a bit, which is very surprising. Because all the different kinds of people that he has on all the different kinds of compasses politically, up, down, left, right, on the far ends of everything, down below, up above, whatever. He's able to bring them out of the shell.
I feel like he's still a little bit right-leaning in many regards. I don't think he gives enough a chance to.
I would disagree because he does. He does, like, I think, make an effort to get both sides.
People that like talk about trans stuff and onto the podcast, that's like
I think
left-leaning.
I don't really listen to a lot of Joe Rogan. I don't find him in particular interesting. I do listen from time to time if he has someone who is interesting, but he himself, not really.
God dang, you just roasted Rogan like that. Okay,
I mean, I think it's a fair point, though. You could listen to Rogan for the people he has on from time to time, but not necessarily find he himself that interesting.
Yeah, I can agree with that. He usually loves asking questions, which is in a way is a good thing. I still feel like he doesn't give enough of a platform to the left relative to the right. But yeah, we'll see. Especially with the whole.
That's a fair point, but I don't know if that's because he doesn't try, or the people on the left just don't get on. I'm not really sure there. It could be either one or a combination of both.
I know a couple of people that would love to get onto Rogan's show that's on the left, but that doesn't matter. Whatever. I just feel that way in many regards. He
definitely should. I think he definitely should have more left-leaning people on, because I think having that dialogue is very important.
Yeah, I think his audience is quite right-leaning too, which isn't that surprising, especially after the whole pandemic with the anti-vax thing, and then Rogan being quite an anti-vax as well. So a lot of people gravitated towards him. That's on the right, but we'll see. It is what it is. There's criticism of the left, I agree, and there's a lot of criticism on the right. I'll be honest, but
well, it's kind of funny because he also is like a pretty big time Bernie Sanders supporter, which is hard to kind of combine that with being right too, which is very funny.
I actually don't know about that.
Yeah, he is.
I didn't know.
He didn't. No, he's a proclaimed Bernie Sanders supporter. At least he was not that long ago.
Huh. Okay. I don't have
said you voted for him, I
enough
believe.
information about the topic.
or
so.
one. I don't like in terms of the primaries.
You want to hop on to the next topic? Seems like we kind of went off the deep end and outside of the topic range.
No,
but
this
it's
is
fine.
what we call a conversation. It flows.
Yeah, I like it. I like that we do detours. Yeah. Side quests, okay?
Oh,
We're doing
yeah.
side quests, okay? Talking about Rogans
Definitely
and podcasts.
side
and
quests.
All right. Do you have a topic you want to talk about, or you want me to go? On
I
to
have
the
a
next
few.
one?
I have a few written down for a reminder. Let's see. Boy. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious do you want the next question to be?
Can I just go with 5 just to annoy you, so it's right in the center?
Yeah, it does annoy me. You're right. You're right on that. Okay. So, well, do you think there will be a VR chat too? Do you think it'll be next generation of this in some way, or a way, or some sort of program that kind of replaces it in the future as a VR social platform?
Right now, I think VR chat is the most dominant platform in terms of like virtual
so.
reality and just like socializing. I don't think the metaverse will ever take that over. I don't think like any other platform will take that over. Wow, you
Usually
really just
speaking,
like
the first movers of
did you like did you like use a Kleenex and not mute your mic?
no, what
was
did I
that?
do?
I thought you just like cleaned your
I
nose.
don't.
Never mind, it was just a dumb thing.
No. No, I think that when you have a situation where you're like the first one that kind of done it and done it well, and then get the audience, you typically have a lot of user retention in terms of people want to stick with what they know, and anything else that comes
Yeah.
along really has to be special and do this a lot better for people to even consider moving because of
I think-
the effort.
I think
and
this
the- and the
this kind of
investment they
applies
have in
to the concept of like why advertisement is so effective and even like economic aspect of it, I guess. Because like people really don't want changes. People don't like change. Even if another grocery store sells like cheaper goods, but you're already used to going to this grocery store, people don't really want to go to the other grocery store, even though it's cheaper. And similarly,
I don't understand that one at all. I'm all about saving that and saving the monies. I don't really care which store I go to as long as it's cheaper.
It's like
but
I
I do
know it's
understand
like
what you mean.
if it's a little bit cheaper, then if it's a lot cheaper, I think people will change eventually. But people just like find.
Or you go to
comfort
3
in-
different stores
in,
because they all have 3 different deals, which I've
yeah.
done a few times. Quite a few times.
Nice. Yeah, I just feel like most
Yeah.
people find comfort in what they already know, I guess, in a sense.
This is true. The other issue is that once you already have an established viewer base, I mean, you have the as long as you don't really mess it up, like as long as you continue to iterate, add features, add content, add a lot of user-friendly options, you can just maintain the audience. The issue arises is when the company doesn't do that and tends to just basically let things go to shit or monetize things too much to where it kind of makes everything user unfriendly as possible for the sake of money. Then something else comes along, does it decently, but without all the bullshit. That's when the movement typically occurs.
Yeah, like if you go and bring since we're talking about like VR chat, I think there were supposed to be like mods that exterior, like what's it called, third person what's it called? Nah, it's like mods that's not official. That used to be a thing, and
I've heard about that. Yeah.
And then I think they banned that. They make it so that it doesn't work anymore, and there's some stuff that improve the quality of VR chat, but they still ban it. And at the end of the day, not many people actually did like leave VR chat because of it, because they have a monopoly, right?
Well, there's
People
not an
come here and
alternative.
people stay.
There's
Yeah.
there's not really a competitor to them yet. But I also know that there's a lot of controversy within VR chat that because they don't do moderation as well as they should, considering you have a lot of varying age groups here, and that's kind of been a big problem overall with VR chat. And the fact, I mean,
Yeah.
I think a good criticism of that is the fact you have this what's it called, the certification thing for 18 plus should have happened way long ago, and the
Oh
fact
my
it's only done
God.
recently is
Another thing I hate about that is that you
Is-
had to pay for it.
yes, but also the extra bit of friction means that the people who do have it are pretty much guaranteed to be 18 over, because a kid's not going to go through the effort to do that most of the time.
Yeah,
And it helps reinforce the tag.
I guess in a way, but it also like makes it so that not everybody has access to it.
This is
But
true.
yeah, it is what it is. But that they have the monopoly, so what can you do about it? Yeah, that's the reality.
I
of
mean,
it.
the thing. I think that you could say. I think a good example of like a monopoly done well, if such a thing can be the case, would be Steam, because Steam does have pretty much a monopoly over the gaming market. However, they also do a lot because they're not a publicly traded company, which is I think is one of the keys to their success. They are able to maintain make a lot of user-friendly and consumer-friendly features that other corporations and other platforms do not do, because it cuts into profits. Most recently, you've had the addition to their policies in terms of making it so that you have to disclose if you have to, advertisement's one of them. You can't have that in video games, or you have to disclose if you're using AI-generated assets in your video game as well. Both of those are not exactly corpo friendly.
Oh, hail Gaben! We love the dude. Truly respectable.
Now, there's downsides with their particular 30% cut, which is quite high overall.
I don't know about that one. I think that's good standard.
I think 30% is a lot, but I also think that you get a lot out of it because of advertisement. Like their algorithm for recommending shit is pretty tuned well. So if your game does well, it gets promoted. So you're paying for a lot of features, hosting the game, downloading servers, potentially a lot of different shit. So it's not from a lack of mutual benefit, that's for sure.
I think I looked into the there's like different. I looked into like the because I'm really interested in publishing a book. I looked into like publishing the sides of aspect of
You mentioned that.
And one aspect of it is that like long ago, if you want to do traditional publishing, you basically give up 90% of your profit. So yeah,
Publishers be that way, yeah.
Yeah, and then you only get 10%. From royalties and stuff. Yeah, so that was pretty insane. But now the standard has gradually changed due to competition and the capability of self-publishing and stuff like that. To make it so that it's usually 30-70 split. So 70% goes to the author, which is good in many regards.
That's fair. It's also a good comparison, I suppose.
Yeah. So I find that personally it's really good, but I think Amazon, which is that they have a monopoly right now with like with virtual books. So
ebooks,
that's like ebooks, yeah. So that's a mess right now. If you sign on to,
that's also a good example of a That's also
Right.
a good example of a negative monopoly is Amazon, because they are a publicly traded company, and therefore they have a lot of incentive to pursue profit above all else. And I think that is why. Go ahead.
Do you know what one company that is publicly traded? I feel like it's the best at what they're doing.
Mhm.
It's Costco. I think Costco is doing it right.
Yes.
Costco is respectable. Okay, Costco is S tier. Okay, I respect that company.
The funny thing is, I've only recently been into a Costco a couple of months ago when I was in California. I've never been into one before then, and it was certainly interesting. It was kind of like I forget the other one right now, but it was interesting to see this kind of the discounts and how like the way they have products and their food court, which was really interesting. I understand the how people go there all the time because I'm like, oh, those prices are holy shit, that's a good deal right there.
Exactly, it's because you go and buy in bulk. Another thing is that they kind of just care about the membership. They also like, I think the what's it called? The creator, the owner of Costco, the one that bought it, well, the one that basically built it up, said to the CEO that he would murder him if he ever raised up the price of the hot dog, which is fucking funny.
Yeah.
Base W, you know, like seeing stuff like that just makes us like you truly respect Costco, like as like a company.
Is Costco publicly traded though?
Yes, Costco is publicly traded. Their CEO first of all, their workers pay really well. Okay. Another thing is their CEO, relative to like other like Walmart CEO and stuff like that, is paid way less relative to the other CEOs. So in terms of like the system itself, it seems like it's functioning really really well. It seems like it's prioritizing both the workers and the customers. Yeah, getting a lot of respect for that.
Fair. I think that corporations do not value the aspect of public relations as much as they should. I think that you can really get a lot more profit, honestly, if you just build a good reputation and you can convince your consumer base to be rather supportive of you by just being consumer friendly. And I think companies can really do a lot more and make a lot more money, actually, if that's something they kind of focus on. And very few do, but the few that do really make bang for their buck.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the stock of the Costco stock is pretty good if you want to invest in that. I think another fun fact about Costco is they actually started selling goods in terms of like metals, like platinum and gold as well.
Yeah, I heard that they're selling like gold and silver, and apparently that did like incredibly well.
Yeah,
like
they
sold out of it entirely.
Yeah, so yeah, that's
well,
pretty
I
insane.
think they were also selling a little bit below market value or something. It was one of the other reasons why they're doing it.
No, they're doing, I think, on market value, but everybody that bought it also got a lot of, because gold did went up and like all the metals that they're selling. So and it succeeded because a lot of people bought it. So now they're actually actively trying to sell metals.
Well, the thing is, people will often invest into like silver and gold if they feel like the economy is going down or their inflation's high or something. So if you sell that in your store and there happens to be an issue of some kind, you're going to sell a lot of it, which I think is rather interesting. I suppose too, it might be even a little less because you're not paying for shipping in that case.
Yeah. Oh.
And Costco can.
Give me a second.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. Nothing doesn't happen. I'm just gonna cut this part out. My battery's running low. Give me a second. Yeah.
See, folks, professional podcast. We are professionals. Don't you think otherwise? This is part of the professionality that you.
Shut the fuck up. Okay. What do you mean? I know I'm not cutting this part out.
Podcast.
Okay. This is authenticity. Okay. This is how problems are going.
Authentic podcasting.
Yes, okay.
Unlike
there's
all of those other
out.
people who do podcasts.
Okay. Go here.
Professional.
So, shut the fuck up, okay? Copy.
How
link.
dare you, sir?
Alright. It's gonna be a bit more of a serious topic.
Oh joy. I'm pretty sure the food court of Costco is a life or death matter if the internet has anything to say about it.
Look at
that. Oh, so I see the U.S. container is about to ram itself into the Chinese, the Euro, the Canadian, and the Mexican container.
Yep. So, what do you guess this topic is about?
Is it one American and
Oh my gosh.
one Chinese, one European, one Canadian, and one Mexican about to get rammed.
Yeah, sure. You want to dive into that? Please dive into that. I want to know your. You thought, no, this is the fucking terrorists, okay? The trade war.
Terrorist. Wait, which one's the terrorist?
Not terrorists, terrorists. Stop shitting on my accent. Fuck you, Star. Okay, fuck you, fuck you. You're an asshole.
See, I'm on the far left, right, and you're kind of squished in there with the others. Okay, that's what's going on right now. My big.
I'm just saying, I don't mind as a Canadian. I don't mind start trading with the entirety of the European Union and Mexico. Cause fuck you guys, okay, for putting like 25% tariffs on us, okay. That actually went through, kind of, but not entirely. It's complicated.
I don't know. It hasn't went through yet. I mean, we keep saying that we move it another month, and you move a little longer, and then we're like, no, we're gonna do it. We don't do it. We're gonna do it. We don't do it.
It's so annoying. So it was in act, but many things was pulled back. So the manufacturing of cars and stuff, because having tariffs on cars is like insane, because you have to go through the border to like put like certain parts on in Canada, and then you bring it back to the US, and then you go back to the that's gonna like exponentially increase the price of everything.
And then they put an exemption for that. Like, oh, that's a bad idea. Okay, we're gonna exempt that. Okay.
It's just insane. Why? I don't understand. What's the point? Like, it's gonna.
I've been figuring that. I think the Canadian one is really the big one, because the Mexican tariffs are makes sense. I can kind of see why, at least to why they would want to.
No, that's such a dumb way to punish Mexico for fentanyl, though. Like, it's not even hurting. Like, it's going to hurt Mexico. Okay? It's going to hurt Mexico, absolutely.
More so.
But it's mostly going to hurt you guys, especially when you guys started applying it to like multiple other countries at once. Okay, that's the insanity part of US.
It. So I have a few theories as to what's going on and what the goal is. I don't know if they're true or not, but in looking at kind of what we're doing overall, it seems that most of what I've been seeing all kind of relates to China in one form or another, for the most part. And what I mean by that is that I think that we're trying to reorientate ourselves, like on a very large scale, both militarily and economically, to basically fight a conflict of sorts with China.
By shitting on your allies.
No, I think it's an ends to just I forget what I messed up my words.
Ends to mean.
It's means to an end.
It means to an end. I mean, sorry. Yeah. You guys.
I think that. Go ahead.
It's just so stupid. Why? How's that an ends to what mean? How are we helping China? How is like attacking Canada helping China? You know, like, it's just kind of stupid.
So one theory that I heard that I know it's not just, don't take my word on this. One theory I heard that I think is rather interesting as a potentiality would be that we are trying to scare Canada and have all, like, we're gonna do these tariffs. No. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, if you join us in sanctions and tariffs against China, we'll forget about all this.
That's not even on the line. What do you mean? We are. Okay, let's be real here. If US wanted to, they can ask Mexico, Canada, the entirety of the European Union to all like sanction or even like put tariffs on China, and majority of us will all agree to it. You know why we agree to it? Because right now, China has like 58% of all manufacturing good that comes from China right now, like in the entire world. Mm-hmm. We can, I think, a lot of countries can agree with the idea that we can sanction or even like tariff China.
No, But there's no because the problem is that the Europe, Canada, America, we're all very reliant on China in terms of manufacturing, especially our own economy. It's like our economies are very intertwined with Chinese
tariffs,
ones.
though. We don't.
You're
if you
correct.
don't want to rely on a country, you want to put tariffs on that country so that your own country will be starting to like try to manufacture that good on said own country, I guess. So you want to build up your own industry.
Correct. But I think that I don't think any of the other countries are going to want to necessarily hurt themselves to do that. But they might be willing to do it if hurting themselves against China would be less painful than hurting themselves with the U.S. And I also think the other part of that too is the idea that we are not wanting necessarily to directly say or publicly state that that's what we're doing. Part of this, I think, might be a facade in terms of like we're trying to do this in a way that China does not necessarily think that we're directly targeting them when that is the goal.
This is the most roundabout way of targeting China by hurting your own ally.
Is.
You not only like hurting China,
very much.
You're hurting the United States to an extreme degree. You're ruining your relationship with like the entirety of European Union. You're literally your best partner, best friend, which is Canada.
Best bros, yeah.
And then we were literally like brothers, okay? Because especially with how we both came from like Europe, both country, and then like Mexico, which although they have their problems with Mexico, it doesn't make sense how it's being handled in terms of like the whole fentanyl issue. Canada's fentanyl issue is only like less than 1% comes from Canada. That means you have a higher percentage of from China directly entering to the U.S. than from China going to Canada, then to the U.S. That's the fentanyl. Because majority fentanyl is produced in the U.S. No, produced in China.
Yeah, in China. No, but you're right about that. That's the full fentanyl thing. Kind of seems a bit fake. Yeah, it's an excuse. I'm not really sure. It is an excuse. I cannot think of it. Because I thought the same thing as you. I don't think there's any way that there's that much fentanyl in comparison to Mexico, or just over the seas that would be coming into Canada from into the U.S. That doesn't make any sense. The only other thing I can think of that maybe why we would want to do tariffs is that we're trying to basically build our own industrial facilities to refine oil in terms of basically be self-sufficient in terms of not only producing oil but refining the oil for our own boats and cars and planes. Because one of the big things that we do is we ship a lot of our oil to Canada, they refine it and send it back to us. So I'm wondering if that's part of it too.
I actually don't know about that. So, in terms of sending oil to refine Canada, if that's true.
We ship a lot of it over.
Huh. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we don't have the refineries, not as much as Canada.
I know you guys don't have.
That's why there's a big energy.
I just know that you guys, Canada sell a lot of crude oil to you guys, but I didn't know it was drilled in the U.S.
It's not crude. It's not crude as much as it is refined fuel, to my understanding.
Okay. But yeah, from what I heard, it's crude oil. And another thing is that I wanted to address one topic that you brought up, is that the idea that you guys want to be secretive, quote unquote, about trying to deal with China. Do you think? I feel like with being like against. Like with every single country in the entire world, Canada that you're fucking with, the Mexico you're fucking with, Europe is fucking pissed with you guys because you guys it seems like don't even care about everything. Ukraine's like fucking angry with you guys. China is angry with you guys.
Oh, Ukraine is like
we'll talk about that
today
later,
actually.
But like all of that, you think it's like intel about the true intent of fucking with China, which I think it's not even true, being the true purpose of the quote-unquote tariffs, wouldn't leak out? Come on. I think that's not realistic, especially when you're talking about this many country. I think it has to leak if there was something, some
I mean,
really
I'm sure
odd
China
way
knows,
of
but there's a difference. There's a difference like there's optics versus like I'm sure that China knows exactly what we're doing, but like it's the optics. Like it's all about it's politics, it's optics. We're not declaring it outright, and we're going about this roundabout way. Because I also think too, it's part of the reason why we're diverting troops from Europe is because at this point is that we consider China to be an actual threat, while Russia is two gimped legs who's starving and also can't do shit about dick at this point, considering that they basically shot themselves fighting Ukraine repeatedly.
I don't know.
Like,
this is like a complicated fucking mess. I just feel like
it
it's
is
such a dumb way to do it. You're like hurting hundreds of years of like built up alliance. Trust.
You are, but I think another part of this is that in 4 years, when he's out, a lot of that reputational damage I don't think is necessarily going to exist, because whoever takes over after that is going to blame it entirely on him.
Exist. What do you mean?
Not as much as you think.
The trust between Canada and the U.S. will never be the same. We will not rely on you guys as much as we will before. Because
because anyone who comes after him is going to blame everything on him.
Yeah, but 4 years later, after the next president, and then you guys go back to conservative and do something crazy like that again, we're not going to like rely on only you guys. We're going to start to gravitate towards even like the European Union for more trade, just to diversify our own trade. Maybe even China, maybe Mexico, more than just like the U.S. Because like how starkly and scary it is that you guys can just like with one term of presidency can fuck us over like insanely. Like that applies to not only like Canada, it's going to apply to Mexico, and even the European Union right now is like building up their own military forces that's not reliant on the US.
Well, that's exactly what we wanted them to do. The funny thing is, that in some ways that hurts us in terms of our own military-industrial complex, but we also wanted them to do that. In fact, if you the rhetoric coming out of his first term.
No, that's not true. What US want is more military spending for NATO, for every country, so that I don't remember the percentage that's required of the GDP.
It's it was 2, and I think they raised it to 5 or something like, or tried to raise it to 5.
But the thing is they want
insane,
that.
But...
They want that, but the purpose of that is they would invest and buy US specific military equipment and stuff like that. Right now, the entirety of Europe don't trust the U.S., especially stuff like I think there was something mentioned about like if you don't support if you don't like help the U.S. or whatever, they would like cut off your technology or something like that in terms of like military technology.
I'm not sure what that you're referencing with that.
I don't remember either. I need to look into that. But because of that entire ordeal, now the entirety of Europe are building their own like company for producing like military goods and stuff like that.
The stock prices of the European military industrial arms organization. Yeah, their stock is going up insane, and they're definitely
and the U.S. stock is dropping.
Military. This is true. U.S. stock is dropping.
Well, I'm saying specifically the U.S. like military stocks, military equipment stocks.
Well, both is true.
Yeah, it's true. And like that's not what the intent of what the U.S. meant when they said like increase the budget spending on military. They want the budget spending to be going towards the U.S. Right? That's like the purpose of that. But they didn't. But now it's just like it's not. The people don't trust the U.S. The countries don't trust the U.S. They want to build up their own defense now, especially with Russia this is a whole deal.
Well, this is true. They're going to definitely build their own defense. They're definitely going to be able to, especially France in that case, because France already has a kind of maintained their military industry even throughout the years.
Germany is building up.
So they have a bit of a head start on that.
Oh no!
Yeah. Well, yeah, flashbacks. I mean, Germany is spending a lot more on the military now as well. That's
God.
definitely never ended poorly.
You know what's fucking crazy right now? Because I'm thinking about it right now. The fact checking that I'm gonna have to do for this entire segment is gonna be so fucked. Oh my god, I'm gonna need to do so much editing. We'll see how it goes. Oh god.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun to see some of that. I'll definitely look at that.
Oh
I mean,
God.
yeah, that is a fair point. I think, yeah, the whole Canadian American issue has definitely boggled my mind more than anything else, because you're right about a lot of things in terms of relations and in terms of nuking our own ally, and I've come up with these theories as to why, but I'm not really satisfied with any of them. I mean, the refinery one does make sense, but that's obviously only a small part, right? Like how do I put this? There's something there. I mean, like, outside of stupidity, which I guess is always a factor. I tend to try to leave that at the very last, because
Yeah, that makes
how to put
sense.
this? I always prefer to think of everything else before I end up with stupidity, because people tend to go with that first, right? No matter what, like, oh, that's just stupid. And what tends to be the case is that there's so many factors, and things are far more complex than they seem on the surface. So I always tend to prefer to try to think of something else, anything else other than just stupidity. Which is why I am talking about Canada the way I am, and why I think I'm trying to come up with these different theories. But yeah, the Canadian issue is very
Have you ever heard of the
strange.
idea of the Arkham's razor?
Right. Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
the Arkham's
maybe.
razor. I get that.
Yeah, so, like, at some point, Arkham's razor should be taking an effect.
But-
like,
True, but
you wanna
but
explain
also
to
I
people
think
what
that it's a
Arkham's
bit
razor is?
reductive. That the idea is that typically, the simplest answer is generally the correct one, if I recall
Yeah,
correctly.
well, it's either solution or answer. Yes, yeah.
Solution
It's
or
the
answer,
same
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
But the problem is, when it comes to geopolitics, you can't really do that as easily, because geopolitics involves so much complexity. It's hard to simplify. You have
but
so many different nations with their own goals, their own desires, and their own economic incentives, each one being its own set of complexity, and they're all interacting to increase their own power in one way or another. It's hard to reduce any of that to anything simple, is the
Yeah.
problem.
I don't know. This entire
Like,
thing is
he
like such
has a
mess.
goal. We can say Trump has a goal of something, right? There's a reason why he's doing
Yeah.
all this. The question is what?
I think
Or what goals?
here's my thought. Okay. Here's what I think the true intention of all these terror things is. So back in the day, if I remember correctly, U.S. didn't have like a taxation system. Instead, they rely on
Right.
tariffs to run the government.
That is a good point. Yes.
And then as of now, they think that they want to go back to that system. The issue is that back then it's the U.S. is like smaller, and they don't and like less. It's not this size now. It's not
Global
there's not-
trade. Also, tariffs was the norm then versus
Yeah.
not so as much now. Yeah.
And I think
You're
Trump
right.
wanted to
No,
go
that's a
back
good
to
point.
that day, and I don't think he thought about. I think his entire plan was to head towards that direction, but I don't think he thought about if it actually will work or not. He just want that to happen. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's why. That's why I think.
You're definitely right about that. That was some of the rhetoric that he was using in his campaign, as well as basically create a tariff economy and then basically negate entirely sales tax and whatnot, and income tax. I think income tax was about sales tax, but I know income tax, sales tax is more of a state thing anyway, I think so. Yeah, it's fair. But yeah, it is definitely very much a different world between then and now, and that's not necessarily something that would be done easily or would even work at all. Especially when goods and services are so much and supply lines are so much more complex than they were then, with things requiring so many different pieces from so many different places in order to make something more advanced.
I think this. I mean, this is a big topic. We can continue if you want, but
it is.
Yeah.
It's entirely up to you. I'm having a blast.
I'm enjoying it.
Also, it's fun to have someone to bounce ideas off who's going to disagree and also give good points. Which is
listen,
how you
I'm
get
Canadian, okay? It's kind of affecting me quite a bit, okay? It's gonna hit us
I'm an
quite
American,
hard. But it's gonna hit us really hard relative to you guys.
Yeah, this
is
true.
We are relying on trade with you guys a lot. So yeah. There's that.
Yeah, in terms of like the power imbalance here, the U.S. definitely has the power over Canada in terms of its economic incentives.
Did you know that Canada went to France and the UK to be in part of the
yes, I heard about
nuclear umbrella against switching the US. This is so fucked. What world are we on?
Yeah,
this is not real. This is the worst timeline ever. What the fuck is happening? Our best friend, our brother. Oh my god, this is so fucked.
I'm just way more pessimistic. I don't know about pessimistic about it, but like, I think this is the most interesting timeline. Not good, not bad. Just like there's so much shit going on each day. I wake up, I'm like, oh, we did that. They did this. Ooh, that's going on. Every day is something just new and insane. And yeah, I mean, yeah.
yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen, but we'll see.
I mean, hey, I think also the last 4 years have been insane. I don't think, 5 years ago, if I went to you and said, when Russia invades Ukraine, they're gonna get their ass handed to them for 4 years. I don't think no one would believe you then.
I mean, right now, I mean, although Ukraine is not necessarily winning, Russia is gaining more ground over time, so there's that. I don't know.
Yes, they're gaining ground, but
getting their ass kicked, I guess.
They're gaining ground, but the cost of doing so has been astronomically high. And
Exactly.
even in the best case scenario for Russia, if they're able to somehow like push all the way through Ukraine and take Ukraine and all
take
that,
the entirety of Ukraine,
their army. Let me put it this way. In the best case scenario for Russia, okay, they win. Let's say everyone cuts off funding, Ukraine gets pushed in, and the war ends tomorrow, and Russia takes all of Ukraine. Okay, let's say like that's not going to happen, but hypothetically, their army is so under-equipped. They've lost so much equipment, so much air defense, so much tanks and personnel and weapons, to the point now they're having to use donkeys to haul supplies to the front line. This is not a joke. They ran out of trucks.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty funny. No, the thing is, like, if the war ends, the entirety of the Russian economy might actually face a huge decline. I'm not gonna say collapse.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say decline, because they're currently majority of their production is going towards like armed goods, like military goods, such as ammunition and so on, and weaponry and so on and so forth. So
I was gonna get to that.
If the war gets cut off, if the war gets cut off, okay, bro, like millions of people might lose their jobs. But yeah, that's an economy that might tank. That's what.
Okay, no, you bring up a fantastic point. Now, I was going to get to that, but no, that's the other half of it. No, absolutely not. That was fantastic. No, so the issue, you're right. Your economy is in a wartime economy. Most of their industrial capacity is being put into producing equipment for the war. A lot of the money that's circulating right now is coming in through the soldier salaries, but also the pensions paid out on their death, which is basically acting as a stimulus for the economy. And so if the war ends, which I do think is at least one of the reasons why the U.S. is trying to end the war, is because by doing so, it would, if it ends quickly, the entire Russian economy could very well collapse. Now, I mean, it may not, but considering how much is invested into the war, it
thing
is very
is,
likely.
I don't want the war to end. Even if the war doesn't end, having your military, having a war economy is eventually it's not gonna it's not gonna end well, right? Even if the war continues, because you're just building guns and ammunition and tank being used and get blown up. Okay, so it's not actually doing.
I mean, war
anything,
economies can
anything.
work, and you can transition back. I mean, look at the U.S. economy during the 1940s. We made full wartime economy.
The thing is, the difference is that it's everybody was in a war economy, right? So nobody is actually doing good.
Yeah.
So I mean, technically, the top functioning war economy and the bottom functioning war economy, it's still in the same level because nobody's not in a war economy because there's World War.
And also, we weren't dealing with drone attacks or bombings or anything on our own territory either. So all of the stuff that we made was still there. I was going to get a few points on the reason why I think no matter what happens, Russia's screwed. They have no equipment. That's going to take them years and maybe a decade or more maybe to get back to a level that is sufficient to actually do anything with, and that is assuming that they're able to trade well enough to get the necessary resources to actually produce what they need to produce, which may or may not even happen. Even if they get control of Ukraine's resources, that's not enough to produce what they need to produce because they still have the manufacturing for it internally.
Hopefully the sanctions and stuff sticks and not nobody really
I suspect they will. I think even if Russia wins, the sanctions are going to last for a long time still. I would suspect. And the other part of it too, and this is something that no one's really talked about, but Russia, but even before the war, was already having population issues. Their population was in decline even then.
That's modern economy as a whole, U.S. and Canada and France. France has to raise the age of retirement, and there's riots, and the reason is is the depopulation and all that. That's a whole ordeal.
But the difference between modern economies, even like Japan, unlike in those cases, even Japan is particularly bad, you didn't have 1 million of your people die in a war at the basically prime age to start a family. You didn't have that happen.
The only reason that the U.S., Canada, and most what's it called, wealthier nation that is not having depopulation issue as much. I'm not gonna say they don't have it. It's because we have immigration. We have immigrants coming in to replace the workforce and so on and so forth. And
that goes a bit of a way to keep that at bay. Yeah.
The issue on Russia's end and is that I don't think anybody's going to want to immigrate to Russia.
That was about
even China.
You keep stealing my shit. Yes, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right on that. Because no one's going to want to move there. The people that are there, even the people that are the people who survive, right, are going to start families, are not going to want to start families in a situation like that where a lot of that infrastructure is damaged or destroyed and things are so unstable as they are. And the economy as poor as it is, that's going to definitely bring the decline even quicker, on top of the deaths, on top of the sanctions, on top of just the general perception as a whole of Russia. Even if they're able to manufacture the equipment, they're not going to have enough people in the army, or even especially in their prime, to be able to hold an army that would be a danger to Europe in the future, I would suspect. Because
it's
even
really interesting, economy and stuff like that. It's really fun to talk about.
Well, I could be wrong at this, and perhaps someone who is more knowledgeable up with the capabilities of Russia might disagree with this. I am not really sure, but it seems to me that one or two European countries outside of nuclear weapons, because that's kind of a balancer right there. We're going to ignore those for a second. Just
really
any one of the modern, Poland, for example, Poland's a bit has a bit of a scary military. They got that country PTSD going, and also have been modernizing their military after the Ukraine war to a large extent. They're genuinely terrifying. Like a country like Poland going to war with Russia on a toe-to-toe without nuclear weapons probably would likely kick their shit in, because they, at this point, I would suspect it would be hard, but like if a subsidized Ukrainian military that is kind of operating on half NATO tactics, half like Cold War area Soviet Union tactics, can manage to withstand the onslaught of the Russians. Certainly a modernized NATO trained military could do as much or more than the Ukrainians ever could.
Yeah.
With the proper foundation for that built up over the years. And so, to an extent, I find the fear that Europe has about Russia to be rather surprising. Not surprising, I understand why. It's like the Cold War is still rampant in their minds, but yeah. Russia as it stands, outside of nuclear weapons, because we need to keep that in mind, that's still terrifying, cannot hold a conventional war against NATO, even without the U.S. Without the U.S. at all, I don't see that happening. I would be surprised, even because, with everything that's been going on right now, I mean, even if they institute a draft, which they haven't done yet with Russia, they just don't have the equipment, and they won't for some time. And even the equipment they have is shit. I mean,
it's just, I don't like the idea.
I
just don't like the idea that somebody that declared war should like get land and stuff like that. I think they should get nothing out of it. I think there should be an example out of it, of Russia. That's the issue. I know tariffs and what's it called? Not tariffs, sanctions and all that. Had as a way to deter it. I still feel like you should, even if you including everything, even including the sanction and everything, I think they shouldn't get any territory out of it. That's what I believe in, and I think it's a better world to live in if there's an example of a country that declared war on another country and completely failed and lose everything, than the world in which a country declared war on another country and just gain land. I don't want to live in that world of that kind of example of a world. It's just, we don't want to live in that world.
I mean,
okay. Go ahead. I do want to bring something up, but go ahead.
I don't. I mean, obviously, I want Ukraine to I want Ukraine to win. I mean, they got invaded. They are by far the defenders, and Russia was the aggressor. That's pretty obvious. But at the same time, it's a complicated issue, right? There's a lot more at stake than Ukraine, and you have a country like Russia who's basically a rabid dog, and you also have to keep in mind that just the geopolitical consequences as a whole for everyone. Russia has by no means won anything. They are, even if they quote unquote win the war, even if they win the war, they have entirely destroyed their military in doing so.
It's a special military operation, okay? Jeez, okay? Come on now.
Special military operation, yeah. Which is a good point, because they have been limited in what they can do legally because of that. They can't do the draft, as an example. And they've very much that's part of the issue why they have manpower issues, is because they can't do a draft. They can't do, I forget what other things they can't do. There's a number of things they can't legally do because they're not legally in a war, legally speaking, quotation.
Whatever. That's just stupid. But I do want to bring something up. I mean, it's almost, I think we're going through way more than an hour and something right now, recording wise.
I don't, what time is it? Oh, wait, it's 8 o'clock? Okay.
Yeah. And I guess I'm not gonna. There's of course we have another topics we want to talk about, but I think it's probably time to end it pretty soon. But there's one thing I do want to bring up. Do you think within this 4 year, what percentage, chance-wise, do you think in this 4 year is Taiwan getting invaded?
Well, that's a great question.
'Cause that's scary.
I think that Taiwan. I mean, obviously China wants Taiwan. We all know this.
Yeah.
But I don't. U.S. policy has also changed a bit on Taiwan. Last I heard about it, that we had a clause on our online stance on Taiwan that we're trying to unify them or something like that, and I believe that was removed. So we're seeking more of a two-state kind of situation versus
that's not the
combined
thing.
state.
It's just like, even with those like policy and stuff, that I'm just scared of Trump as an individual. I guess he doesn't really care if like things are written on online or not. Okay, if he wants to defend, he'll defend. If he don't want to defend, he doesn't give a shit. No matter what his party.
The thing was, the thing is, you could say the same for Biden, because Biden also didn't agree to the contract that we signed with Ukraine early on, when the war started.
I want to say this, okay?
Okay.
If you had to choose between Biden and if you're comparing between like Trump and Biden, I think there's an obvious conclusion you can come up with that which one would probably most likely defend Taiwan than the other one. I'm just saying, there's definitely a higher chance of one over the other. I think it's probably logically sound to think this way.
I think both would.
Really?
The reason why I think both would, because you have to keep in mind, for one of the very consistent things that Trump has said and done, which one of the few, is he's been very anti-China for his entire thing. Like, there's literally the meme, China.
He's anti-China, but I don't know if he will help Taiwan though. That's the thing. Like, you can be anti-China and also not help another country to defend against China. He seems quite pro-Russia right now. I'm just saying.
We don't have a choice to defend Taiwan. We kind of have to, in terms of a strategic sense, because they produce chips, this is a very common thing everyone knows about. Yeah, the chips, the chip manufacturing. We are in the process of trying to become independent.
Chips, independent from that. That's what Trump wanted. So I'm saying, within this 4 year, do you think we can build a big enough? Well, you guys can build a big enough chip industry on your homeland to just like not care about,
We're trying. I mean, we tried with Intel and a few other companies, and that did not end particularly well. So now we're trying with TSMC and seeing if that works a bit better. But I think right now that the U.S. does not have a choice to defend Taiwan in order to maintain just our infrastructure and even our own military, because that all runs off chips too. I'm not sure how many come off of Taiwan, but I would suspect quite a few.
Do you have a lean towards yes or no? Like, do you have a lean?
I would say, but most likely, yeah.
China would.
I would say more yes than no.
That China would
invade? If I recall that they, it was a Institute of War Research. Yeah, no, I believe that there was a study done by the Institute of War into China's landing capabilities, that they concluded that they wouldn't be able to do it until like 2030 or so, and because they would need enough landing crafts and enough equipment to get over that strait to basically overwhelm them without it being some sort of slog down fight. So probably not within the next 4 years. So definitely ramping up, but I don't think they're going to have the equipment until 2030 or so to be able to pull that off successfully or without huge casualties.
Okay, I think
because Taiwan's been spending the last decade to fight China, and when you have that much time to prepare, I mean, we look at Ukraine. Ukraine was preparing for that a long time to fight Russia, and that's obviously ended pretty well for them of all their preparation. So I think you'd see something somewhat similar with the Taiwan invasion.
Yeah. Okay, I think.
And also keep in mind too. Oh, fair. I have other things about that, but fair.
I know, but I also want a little break as well. We can continue. We can do a part two
last thing
as
I will
well,
say,
yeah, go ahead.
that's partly answering that question, is I said this earlier. I think a lot of what we're doing in reorganization in terms of our what we're deeming important, what we're working on, in terms of our military projects right now, and in terms of just how we're orientating our military as a whole, indicates a very much a anti-China, Chinese military kind of operation. Like, even like to the extent we're making a bunch of anti-drone shit right now because we realize, oh, those drones that China's been producing for these past years have been investing in, oh, those are actually dangerous. Those are actually a problem. And even our new missiles for the F-15s, the AIM-174s, are also meant to take out Chinese AWACS and whatnot.
The missile types and stuff like that, so yeah.
Fair. Basically, we've been making a lot of shit to fight Chinese military equipment and to be able to launch enough shit at the same time to do that, because they have so much that we kind of have to work with. It's a bit of a problem.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I don't think you would build that all up without having the intention to spend Taiwan.
It's gonna long edit for me. Okay, I need to probably end it here because
fair.
But yeah,
I had fun talking to you.
It was a fun time.
Boy, that was a lot. That was a lot.
Do you enjoy it? This is our first. Okay,
yes,
maybe we call it episode 0. Maybe we call it episode 1. We'll see.
Hey, and when you get back to the fact checking, let me know, because I want to know what bullshit I spouted.
We'll see. I think in terms of what you said,
if you do or not, just whatever you find, just send my way. I'll read it.
Okay, yeah. I'm not gonna probably be able to post it like this week. We'll see. This is a lot of shit.
Whatever.
But yeah. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Okay. It's a fun time. I love hanging out with Star. Okay, especially when we talk and bounce off each other, and that's the entire reason we even started the podcast in the first place. So, yeah. But this has been the first episode of Furries versus Normi. It's more, maybe I call it Furry and Normi. How about that? I think.
And question everything that he and I said and make your own opinions on it.
Honestly,
because we're no by means experts.
Like put stuff in the comments.
Do not take anything we say as fact, because we don't. We're not, okay? Listen to people that are more professional than us, okay?
Exactly.
And to get your own opinions.
Yeah, like you can, of course, disagreement, anything like that, put it in a comment. As long as as long as you give like your actual thoughts about it, then you can, instead of just saying like, no, you're wrong in a comment. I would love to read it and all that, but yeah, we'll see. This is like, okay, I'm talking about VR chat, furries, and like another person that's also in VR chat. I don't know if this podcast will do well, but we'll see. I might even put it in like Spotify, so people can just hear it instead of fucking looking at these two avatars. But yeah, that was a fun time, and yeah, see you guys.
But boy.
Yeah.